Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. Since ancient times, many heroes and meritorious figures who have made great contributions to their country often face the tragic fate of being discarded after their service. With the proverb, "When the rabbit dies, the hound is cooked," symbolizing this cruel end. Even those who have served the nation with great loyalty find themselves unable to escape the fate of being sacrificed in the end. The history of the Ming Dynasty was no exception to this fate. According to statistics, during the process of establishing the Ming Empire, there were 34 prominent figures and generals who, through their wisdom and efforts, helped Zhu Yuanzhang lay a solid foundation for the empire. They achieved remarkable military successes, which paved the way for the prosperous era of the Ming Dynasty. However, among these heroes, only 4 fortunate individuals were able to enjoy their later years and die peacefully. Why did Emperor Zhu Yuanzhang, not dare to act against them? Were there other hidden reasons behind this? Historical records indicate that during the early stages of Zhu Yuanzhang's rise, his personality was known for its kindness and generosity. He was skilled in recruiting and utilizing talented individuals, which allowed him to stand out among the many leaders of rebel armies and attract a large number of like-minded people to join his cause. Not only did he possess excellent talent-spotting abilities, but he also understood how to give these talents the space to fully display their abilities, particularly those who came from common people or even humble backgrounds. Compared to Qianlong's cruelty and Zhang Shicheng's indecisiveness, Zhu Yuanzhang appeared to be quite different. Whether dealing with his generals or soldiers, he was relatively tolerant and rational, which made him very attractive to others. In the early days of joining the Red Turban Army, Zhu Yuanzhang was not yet prominent. He once had to live in poverty and was often accompanied only by a beggar monk. This period was the lowest point in his life, but also a crucial moment of awakening. It was here that he found his self-worth and the meaning of life. After joining the army, Zhu Yuanzhang no longer worried about basic survival and began to showcase his talents. He gradually gained the recognition of the Red Turban leader Guo Huan and was appointed to serve by his side. At this time, Zhu Yuanzhang married Ma, who was then not well known. Although she had not yet become empress, her gentle nature, sharp intellect, and cultured demeanor brought happiness and peace to Zhu Yuanzhang's life. This period seemed to be the most peaceful time of his life. The rebel armies around him were united. There were no major internal conflicts, and external threats had not yet emerged. Zhu Yuanzhang's career seemed to be on the right path. However, this period of stability did not last long. The internal conflicts within the Red Turban Army gradually came to the surface. Due to conflicts of interest between factions, the internal divisions became more severe, and several brutal killings took place. Faced with this internal strife, Zhu Yuanzhang chose not to become involved. Instead, he decided to develop independently and build his own army. He returned to his hometown and began recruiting. Surprisingly, he received a warm response from the local people and quickly formed a strong Red Turban force. Zhu Yuanzhang led his fellow villagers to continuously conquer Yuan army camps, rapidly expanding his power. As his reputation grew, many talented individuals came to join him, further strengthening his cause. One of the earliest and most capable individuals to join Zhu Yuanzhang's camp was Li Shanchang. From this moment, Zhu Yuanzhang began his journey from a mere leader of a rebel army to the founder of a regular army. Li Shanchang's arrival not only helped Zhu Yuanzhang correct many bad habits but also effectively resolved conflicts between generals, laying a solid foundation for team building. Soon after, another strategist, Zhu Sheng, helped Zhu Yuanzhang formulate the "build strong walls, accumulate grain, and delay declaring kingship" strategy for the establishment of the country. With the assistance of these top strategists and powerful military leaders, Zhu Yuanzhang made steady progress and eventually captured Yingtianfu, today's Nanjing. After occupying Nanjing, Zhu Yuanzhang began to widely recruit talented scholars. Not only did he build special residences for his strategists, but he also treated them with great respect, aiming to attract more civil officials and strategists through these gestures. Zhu Yuanzhang was well aware that, although he had the advantage in military leadership due to his background in the peasant rebel army, he was clearly at a disadvantage in terms of civil officials and strategists. Therefore, this period can be seen as the time when Zhu Yuanzhang treated his civil officials and strategists with the utmost generosity. Zhu Yuanzhang's actions deeply impressed Lu Bowen, who was known at the time as the #1 strategist under heaven. Lu Bowen's joining was like Liu Bei meeting Zhuge Liang, it injected strong intellectual support into Zhu Yuanzhang's cause. With Lu Bowen's wisdom, Zhu Yuanzhang became more strategic and gradually formed a core competitive advantage of being both civil and military. In fact, to establish a new dynasty, not only is a strong army required, but also well-rounded talents with literary skills and strategic acumen. Zhu Yuanzhang happened to have top talents in both areas, which led to his rapidly rising power. Within just 8 years, he unified the Central Plains, successfully ascended the throne, and founded the Ming Dynasty. However, at the moment when everything seemed to be going smoothly, Zhu Yuanzhang began to change. As a leader who came from a peasant rebel army, Zhu Yuanzhang knew how hard-earned his achievements were, especially since his position was extremely fragile. He had neither a powerful background nor strong forces to rely on. His success was almost entirely based on his own ability and wisdom. Because of this, he was also acutely aware that anyone around him today might be an ally, but tomorrow they might not remain loyal. During past battles, Zhu Yuanzhang could win people's hearts by offering glory and wealth, using benefits to attract and stabilize his team. However, as the wars ended and the distribution of power became clearer, Zhu Yuanzhang began to realize that the rewards had already been distributed. The question arose, would the generals who had once served him remain loyal? Would they harbor second thoughts and, at some point in the future, challenge his rule? Therefore, after the establishment of the Ming Dynasty and the pacification of the surrounding regions, Zhu Yuanzhang shifted his focus from the battlefield to governing the country. However, governing the world and winning the world are two completely different concepts. On the battlefield, military orders are like mountains, not to be violated, yet, once back in the court, ministers often use various reasons to restrain the ruler's decisions, which greatly displeased Zhu Yuanzhang. Compared to the intrigues and power struggles at court, Zhu Yuanzhang was clearly more adept at securing victory on the battlefield, where knives and swords were drawn. As a result, he grew increasingly weary of the ministers who spoke passionately about benevolence and morality. During the Tang and Song dynasties, the system of prime ministers was a key mechanism for balancing the power of the monarch. The prime minister played a significant role in many major decisions. However, Zhu Yuanzhang could not tolerate this system of checks and balances. He decided to take matters into his own hands, eliminating those he saw as threats to his authority, and began a series of large-scale purges. The first target was Prime Minister Hu Weiyong, who, recommended by the founding Prime Minister Li Shanchang, was from the same region as Zhu Yuanzhang in the Huaishi area. They had both risen from humble beginnings to their positions. Due to his solid foundation, Hu became increasingly autocratic in the court, with no one daring to challenge him. When handling official cases, Hu even stopped consulting Zhu Yuanzhang, making decisions independently. Soon after, another founding hero and regarded as the first strategist in the Ming Dynasty, Lu Bowen, mysteriously died due to a conflict with Hu Weiyong. This deeply disturbed Zhu Yuanzhang and crossed a line for him. He believed that Hu was responsible for Lu's death, and in his fury, he decided to eliminate Hu and his supporters once and for all. Hu's faction included not only himself and other prime ministers like Li Shanchang, but also many of the military leaders who had fought alongside Zhu Yuanzhang to establish the dynasty, such as Liu Zhongheng and Tang Shengzong. Zhu Yuanzhang ordered a large-scale purge that ultimately led to the death of over 30,000 people. The massacre shocked and terrified the entire court. After the Hu Weiyong incident, the prime minister system was completely abolished, and such a power balance would never be seen again. The second major purge took place during the empty seal case. The empty seal referred to the practice where officials would preemptively stamp official documents before filling in the content. This method, initially intended to save time, gave many officials the opportunity to exploit the system, especially in the collection of taxes. Many officials used this method to extort money, cleverly profiting from the process. At the time, the taxes mainly depended on money and grain, and the transportation and storage of grain often resulted in losses. Therefore, the quantity of taxes collected rarely matched the actual amount received. Many officials took advantage of the empty seal loophole to engage in embezzlement and fraud. Once the issue was exposed, Guo Huan, the vice minister of the Ministry of Revenue, became the focal point of the investigation. Eventually, the Imperial Guards, Jiaqing, conducted a nationwide investigation into the empty seal scandal. After the case was revealed, Zhu Yuanzhang ordered the execution of around 70,000 to 80,000 people, many of whom were local officials and high-ranking ministers involved in corruption. The empty seal case became Zhu Yuanzhang's second major purge, shaking the entire court. Similarly, the third purge occurred in the Guo Huan case. Guo Huan, a founding hero, had long been responsible for the country's finances and tax administration. However, after the empty seal scandal broke, Guo Huan was implicated in corruption and misconduct. Zhu Yuanzhang launched a severe investigation, leading to another large-scale purge in which tens of thousands of people were executed. At this point, Zhu Yuanzhang's power was further centralized, and more founding heroes were eliminated. The fourth great purge occurred during the Lan Yu incident. Lan Yu was one of the founding generals of the Ming Dynasty, having made significant contributions during the campaign to unify the country. He was also a trusted confidant of Crown Prince Zhu Biao, the eldest son of Emperor Zhu Yuanzhang. Lan Yu originally served as an important military support for Zhu Biao. However, with the sudden death of Zhu Biao, Lan Yu lost his political backing, which created a sense of crisis in Zhu Yuanzhang. At this point, Zhu Yuanzhang was already in his later years. Feeling that time was running out and that he needed to lay a stable foundation for the future of his dynasty. To prevent any power struggles that might arise after the death of the crown prince, Zhu Yuanzhang decided to eliminate the influence of figures like Lan Yu. He accused Lan Yu and his supporters of plotting rebellion and, in the end, purged Lan Yu, Chang Yuchen, and their associates, virtually wiping out the last group of powerful military leaders in the Ming Dynasty. As a result, many former heroes and renowned generals died one after another, and only a few of them were able to enjoy a peaceful old age. According to historians, among the 34 founding generals of the Ming Dynasty, only 4 were able to live out their old age in peace and enjoy a stable life. These 4 were Tang He, Su De, Mu Ying, and Guo Ying, who earned Zhu Yuanzhang's deep trust through their unique qualities. The first was Tang He. As a fellow townsman of Zhu Yuanzhang, he was one of the founding generals of the Ming Dynasty. He joined the army of Guo Zixing, Zhu Yuanzhang's early supporter, at the start of the uprising, and fought alongside Zhu Yuanzhang. From that point on, they formed a close bond and cooperated until the founding of the Ming Dynasty. Even after his success, Tang He chose not to remain in the capital to enjoy wealth and fame but continued to campaign and quell rebellions. Throughout his life, Tang He was diligent and responsible. Despite his high status, he never interfered excessively in politics and maintained a low profile. He retired at the age of 62 and returned to his hometown of Fengyang. choosing to live out his years there instead of in the prosperous capital of Nanjing. He lived to the age of 70 and passed away quietly, becoming an exemplary figure of dedication. The second was Su De, like Zhu Yuanzhang. Came from a humble background and joined the uprising early. As a founding general of the Ming Dynasty, Su De's contributions were invaluable. He played a significant role in many battles, helping Zhu Yuanzhang establish the Ming Empire. Unlike Tang He, Su De chose to remain in the political center of Nanjing after the capital was established. He led a diligent life there until his death from illness. His loyalty and steady demeanor earned him the trust of Zhu Yuanzhang, and he was able to live out his later years peacefully. The third was Mu Ying. Mu Ying was adopted by Zhu Yuanzhang, and his background was similar to that of his adoptive father, both coming from humble beginnings. Mu Ying began his military career at the age of 12 or 13 and made significant achievements on the battlefield. Not only did he excel in combat, but he was also deeply loyal to Zhu Yuanzhang's family. When Empress Ma passed away, Mu Ying was deeply saddened, even coughing up blood due to his grief. He was equally sorrowful after the death of the crown prince, Zhu Biao, and his excessive worry led to illness and eventual death. Mu Ying's deep loyalty and emotional attachment earned him Zhu Yuanzhang's respect. Though he did not enjoy a peaceful old age, his life was marked by loyalty to both his country and his family. The fourth was Guo Huan. Guo Huan, a relative of Zhu Yuanzhang, was also a founding general of the Ming Dynasty. Despite being a member of the royal family, he never became complacent. Instead, he maintained a cautious and low-key style. He served on the border for a long period without complaint and earned Zhu Yuanzhang's trust. Even in his later years, Guo Huan faced some impeachment from officials at the court, but due to his cautious nature and lack of mistakes, he was not executed. His carefulness and steady character allowed him to live a peaceful old age. According to historians, Zhu Yuanzhang used a series of purges to solidify his rule. But these actions also laid a strong foundation for the Ming Dynasty. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.